So, Lynn was busy and I wanted to get shit done, so I've done about a billion things that I didn't film. So now, once again, we're going to do that thing where I talk backwards. The project's already finished, but this is how it got there. But this project's going to be weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and months. And
so this is the beginning.
Years. This is the beginning. I had 3 light poles over there that little Willie had gotten that he'd left there and that I wanted to use here. And they had reached the point where if I didn't use them, they were good, even though they were light poles laid on the ground like that, they were going to rot. In fact, one of them was already rotten.
Yeah, I'll show you what you did with that in a minute.
Yeah, I'll show you what I did with that in a minute. But at any rate, so I cut them. I was going to leave them long and build off of them, but they weren't quite long enough to go as tall as they needed to go anyway. Besides which, I can't move them if they're any bigger than that. These things are heavy. I moved these by myself.
Right.
So if they were even this much taller, I couldn't have moved them by myself. And besides which, it's stronger if it's underneath anyway.
So you built a platform instead.
So I built I put them over here. I purposely angled the ones on the outside and the ones, I angled them out for 2 reasons. First off, gives it a stronger base. But second off, it's going to help it shed water. Also, when you're holding shit by yourself, sometimes shit's just crooked. You got to live with it. And then make up a reason why you did it.
I don't think that's what happened here,
Then you make up a reason. You go, that's why I did this. I did this so that it would shed the water. And really, it's that you're fucking trying to screw the motherfucker together one-handed as you hold it in place by yourself. That's what's happening. But, okay. True and false, because if you look, you'll notice that I've had this one cocked out this way and that one cocked out that way. So
it was
not exactly true, but there you go. That was a lot funnier, though. Anyway, I got this platform. I got it all. If you can look, I freaking put 7 billion tons of cross bracing in here. I've got a plastic underneath this because you can see this was an old floor.
There was an old floor. This
and
part of this was. And you can see
it's taking water damage. So I didn't want to completely take this down and redo it, but I also don't want it to continue to take damage. So I put plastic under here.
Yeah, you can see that because you were, what, a board and a half short or something?
Yeah, I'm like 3 2-foot boards short of having the deck completely finished on this. And then there'll actually be a roof over the whole thing. But that's so that, but because of the way I'm building it, rain will still blow in. I don't want rain blowing in, catching, going to these bottom boards. With that plastic there, very little of the water is ever going to reach those bottom boards.
You cover them with pressure treated.
I'm thinking about putting the slide here, which will make more sense when you see what I'm doing, but I'm thinking about putting this slide here. Yes, this slide is a leftover from somebody else's project. So there you go. I got this end all. Okay, so come here, you'll see. Now see, this is method to my madness thing. You remember how I built this. And you may be wondering why I use these great big rocks and have them come over here. Because if you look, this is nowhere near even with that next post.
Oh, okay.
In fact, if you'll notice, I had to do a kick brace here
to make it
to strengthen that. Then I went ahead and put a post here, and then I just really cross braced the hell out of it. Cross bracing looks really cool, but cross bracing is the strongest thing you can do for your structure. So, okay, so then I'll show you what I'm doing up here. I'm tearing down, as you can see, I'm tearing down this railing. If you'll look up, you can see. Now, my son, the genius, did not build all of this. Little Willie built a lot of it. My son, the genius, built the really cool parts of it, and Little Willie built the rest of it. So Mommy's having to try to salvage it from Little Willie's gentle grace.
Let's look at what you made out of that rotten before we go up. And then we can go up.
What I did with the rotten one, because it was rotten on the bottom, which once you get it off the ground, the rotten, first off, I took a chainsaw, you can't see it, and I knocked off all the worst part of the rod. I just
okay.
sawed it off. And then I cut one end of the good one of the good ones I cut into 2 posts. I put a round in the middle, like
okay,
this.
a divot, right?
I put a round
a
in the
U
middle
or
like
whatever.
this. And then I just took the old one and I stuck it right there and made a little dent out of it, because might as well.
Yeah, I see that.
But there's, yeah, and it'll probably last longer than we will. So now that it's off the ground.
Right.
But there you go, you'll have that crap.
Okay, we'll go upstairs.
Okay, we'll go up top.
Now you're on.
Now I'm on?
Now
Am
you're
I
on.
now?
You're on now.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Are you fucking sure?
I'm sure.
I'm tired. Really?
Yes.
Really? This time really?
Really,
right?
really, really.
Okay. Is it kind of like COVID? They keep saying, "Oh, we're over it," and then we're not.
Yeah. No, you're actually on.
Okay. So what did I do just now? Just now I wired this thing. I've got a cord. Both little Willie and I ran a cord from here to over there. Part of it's underneath the structure, part of it's underneath this structure, but mostly it's a cord that goes all the way in and plugs into a plug-in that I made for it. You can actually turn this off with a switch inside the house.
Yeah.
So if for some reason you wanted to do that, like you wanted to turn this off and you didn't want any part of it on, you could turn off the whole building.
Just turn off the entire building.
It's just one plug-in. Okay, now, so it doesn't work. So I wired it. Okay, but I'm going to show you. Okay, so
it's turned on inside right now.
it's turned on inside. So I brought it. So how do we test to see if electric shit works after we go get an electric tool and plug it in?
Oh my goodness.
So we now have power up here, which is good, because if she'll pan around, you can see there's about a dozen limbs that I have to get out of this fucking tree
there are.
before I start building and wasting my time. Now, my son the genius built this rail in the front, which is gorgeous.
Right.
And my son the genius built that rail in the back that Mommy finished, which is gorgeous. But then, little Willie built this crapola on the side out of pieces of old fence and garbage. You missed it. There was bamboo tied
Oh, I know. That's
to
already
the
gone.
thing.
Yeah.
I already cleaned that up. There was bamboo tied all the way up into the tree with what are those things? Zip ties.
Okay.
Okay, so that's already gone. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, because this is the kind of thing that little Willie does that my son, the genius, would never do. Okay, see this old fencing? This old fencing's still in really good shape.
Right.
Okay, so it would make a perfect rail for this side. This is gonna be buildings.
Right.
So I don't need a rail here. But, okay, so that would have made a rail that would have gone all the way across here. But little Willie decided only to use one piece of it on this side and then use that old piece of futon.
Or futon.
Which worked.
It worked.
Which worked. Okay? But when I get done, it'll all be that fencing all the way across, and it'll be good and sturdy and stout in the way it's supposed to be, instead of a death trap.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is kind of a, look at this.
Just a little bit loose.
Not only that, some of this shit snapped apart.
Oh! Oh, scary.
So,
that would
why
be why
am I working on this instead of the 50 billion other things that need to be done? Because I'm this close to losing this, is reaching the point of no return on fixing it.
Right.
So, we'll be coming back to this, because this is what we're going to do. But I forgot to show you this. Okay, so you might have been wondering, why do I put this little cottage cheese thing here?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I cut it, as you can see, to make a roof.
Right.
Okay, I put it behind this and screwed it through it.
Right.
Okay, so while I'm working, while there's no roof, there will eventually be a roof here.
Yes.
But while there's no freaking roof, this is completely protected. When I get completely done and there's a roof, I will take a razor knife and cut this off.
Oh, okay.
And when I cut it off, it'll still have that nice protective plastic back between the box and the wood.
Yes, excellent idea.
So it never hurts
No,
to
it
have a
doesn't
little
hurt at
bit
all.
more insulation quality. So that's that little hack that you may steal for yourself.
Sounds
And then
wonderful.
say, I thought of this all by myself. I never get credit for anything. Not only do I never make any money, but I don't even get credit for shit. I created the internet. No, that's not true. We know. We know I don't know anything about high tech, so that's a fucking lie right there. But yeah. Until next time, don't be a dumbass.